Willkommen, bienvenue. Welcome once again to another live stream. This is the Love Entrepreneurs Show with Hilary Coslet. And on this show, we tend to talk about the benefits of the Big Fix, which is the flagship of Love Entrepreneurs. It's not the whole story; it's the starting point, if you like, and it's effectively a group of, I was going to say elders. That's probably not fair. A group of
elderly,
sympathetic entrepreneurs who are there to try and act as a group of people, almost like a mastermind, to help you see your business and your proposition from different angles that perhaps you haven't seen it from. And Christiane recently went through one. Hilary, take it away.
Thank you very much. So, yes, just to clarify on the elderly bit, right, the octogenarian grouping.
You're about 100 years older than us.
We are a fellowship, basically, of entrepreneurs who've come together to share our experience, that's the elderly bit, strength and hope with everybody else so that we can help you grow your business in a very, very mutually supportive way, we hope. So recently, Christiana came and did a Big Fix for us at Love Entrepreneurs, and this was a really interesting one. So Christiana, you came and did a Big Fix in terms of wanting to look at how you could expand your first business, which is Core Essentials with Christiana, which is a Pilates-based health, nutrition and mental health-based business, to looking at moving into the care companion business. So tell us a bit about that. How did you feel about doing the Big Fix? I mean, how did you feel beforehand?
Beforehand, I felt very nervous because it's quite daunting to stand in front of average of 10 people. Average of 10 people. And you think like, oh no, it's like, now I have to hold a speech. But actually, it wasn't as frightening as it was in my head, because everybody there was looking at you with, literally, I can say love and support at you, because they are a fellowship. I'm part of that fellowship. So I knew most of them, and I knew that nobody would take my head off. And they were all there to help me. And so once I got my teeth sorted out and could talk properly,
you too, not just Gareth and me.
Not just Gareth, that's the trademark.
If anybody knows of any good teeth makers, please let us know. But anyway,
yeah. And I started talking, and I could talk about my story. I felt a lot more confident, and so that was the first part, to actually just speak about yourself and actually be vulnerable, which is actually it's a good thing, but can also be a very scary thing, to make yourself vulnerable in people, because we're also much better in putting a mask on and looking invincible. But and then also, obviously, you have to come up with something, what you want to achieve, why you're actually there. Not to tell your story, you're there because you want to move your business in whatever way forward, or you have a certain question regarding a business venture. And for me, it was to get more clients, and how to bring my Pilates business, which I'm really very passionate about, to bring it forward to other people, and onto new people, and which then actually went into the care companion as well, because they can do the Pilates as well, and they can do it on a chair or on their couch with me there. So they're sort of intertwined.
Yeah. So the question was, though, what did you get out of it? What did you feel after the process? What happened? Can you describe? I mean, did you get ideas? You came with ideas about how you wanted to move the care companionship forward. What were your ideas, and what happened after the Big Fix?
My ideas were basically to enable people, elderly people, to stay longer in their houses and not having to move into a home, and therefore also not that their families don't have to pay a fortune to put their parents in the home, and everybody's not
But
happy.
the idea, yeah, that was the idea why you wanted to do it. I'm more interested in. Did you get ideas about how to set this business up, and how far have you got with it? You know, was there?
I got lots of ideas. I mean, this was like where to go and to speak to doctors, to speak to old age homes, to actually go and speak to everybody who has something to do with elderly people before they would actually move into an old age home, to speak to them. But also what
Go on, sorry. Go on, sorry.
now I forgot what I wanted to say.
The one thing that you got, which I remember distinctly, I think, was the idea of contacting social services first, right?
Yeah.
Because from my own experience with having to do this, that would be the first port of call for people looking for support, because of course social services have to provide a certain amount of support for the elderly, but actually looking at how social services could be a referral point for you. And how
Yeah.
much work have you implemented since doing the Big Fix?
Fairly little, purely because I was for the core for the caregiving business, because I have one client which I'm happy with, but I also have a knee replacement. I'm looking for the second one. So the point for me was I can't really go to a client and say, you know, I'm looking after your mother or something, I guess, but can't actually walk. And so that
you're
was
going through your own knee replacement at the moment, so of course that's holding things up, isn't it?
yeah. So that made me feel a little bit in limbo, which didn't
Yeah.
stop me from the Pilates.
No.
Because I'm experienced enough there to demonstrate and show and so on, which is ideal in any case. So, but when I got all the suggestions, your head goes all over the show, because you think like, how is this all going to fit together? And what I have to mention, you actually have 2 days, so you come back on the second day as well. Which by that stage, it all sort of had settled a little bit. The ideas didn't seem so scary, and so by the next day, there were probably also other people there who had different ideas how to implement my new ideas and actually bring my new business forward,
Right.
and also how to combine them in a better way. And I find the love and support which every single person brought forward, but also honesty, and I think that is important. That they're not just there to tell you that you're the best thing since a slice of cake. They're
No,
there.
definitely not that. That's not what we're there for.
Exactly. So I had it in German in my mouth, so I had to think about it the other way around first. And they are not there to tell you that everything what you're doing is right and whatsoever and so on, but also honestly say to you, it's actually not going to work like that. You need to actually start it smaller, and maybe introduce smaller prices and include that with silver, and which means that I have can give more access to people, and therefore gain quicker authority and also a wider variety of clients.
Yes, so Silvertree obviously is something that we talk about all the time at Love Entrepreneurs, because we endorse it all the time. It's very important to us because it just means that you can max up on the amount of people that you're dealing with in, say, one class in your case. You know, it's, if you like, it's about capacity direct, isn't it? Because it's, you know, it's all those people, not not in the class at the moment, that could be in the class at the moment. So it's just a
Yeah.
way to
And that was
leverage
really
what you do.
valuable and brought me quite a few clients. And that is definitely something what everybody should look at. And after you get an amazing report from Ellery, and which also does your head in at the beginning, because you need to actually talk to her then and to understand bring your own thinking down to the ground again, instead of like everything is going like a washing machine. And that is the aftercare after the big fix. That is also so important. You're not forgotten, and then, oh, goodbye, and nobody cares about you anymore. I belong to the Silver Tree and to the Left Entrepreneur community anyway. And I find also from the other side, being on the panel of Love Entrepreneurs is something really, really valuable, because you learn every single time out of other people's businesses as well. And that is really important, because you only always get something out and say, oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that. And or you always meet people you want to speak to, and create a one-on-one. So it's a true fellowship where you're not getting left alone. That wasn't proper English, was it?
It's more than good enough.
More than good enough.
And that I find that is very important to me.
Well, that's important to us too, because what we wanted to create, right? And Gareth will know about this. You will know about this too. There's a community of noise out there. There's so much noise out there that it becomes overwhelming, right? It's like, who the hell do you trust? Who do you listen to? You sort of almost got to become an expert in everything. And that's overwhelming in any environment, right? So we wanted to sort of turn down the noise factor, bring it into, we were talking, as an example, we were talking about teeth earlier, just before we came on the show. And Gareth and I had both had a very similar experience with really excellent providers. It all came and fell down on the push to sign up to the finance agreement, right? They let themselves down right at the last hurdle. And it's the same for us at Love Entrepreneurs. What we want to do is try and educate people first in how things work. For example, people talk about Google Ads. You need this, you need that. Rather than you need everything, explain to them why it is that they need this now, because the rest of it they may not need now, but they can be part of a plan to work towards a growth plan. And this is really important. So suddenly, once people understand things in context and they do it, the fright level comes right down, and they can start to visualize in their mind themselves doing this work and in action. Their understanding of where people like Gareth fits in, where I would fit in, where other people would fit in, is made based on a much quieter mind, because they feel in control rather than, somebody like us telling them what to do. What we don't want to do is, and I know this is very difficult sometimes, and I get accused of telling people what to do, and it's not my intention, but it's probably my personality more than my intention. But what we really want is to empower people to truly understand what they really need at this very moment to move forward to the next stage. And yes, the X, Y, and Z can come afterwards, but it doesn't need to all be done at the same time, which is why our coaching programs, which are focused on strategy, are all about strategizing and getting your brain to live in that perfect image of what the business is going to be in the future, so that you can start to understand why it is that you need X, Y, and Z. You don't need it all at the same time, but why you would need it anyway. So I think for me, the money side is important, hence why Silver Tree. I can't give people millions of pounds because I don't have millions of pounds, but I can help them use the Silver Tree method to generate, for example, a lot of money. So the Seed Enterprise Investment Scheme, for example, is a great way for people to generate capital investment, but it involves a commitment on the part of everybody to really learn about it, because otherwise what happens is it becomes I'm preaching moment, and you don't want that. What you want is you want to educate people as often as you need to for them to come to their own decisions. Is this right for them? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And also that feeling that where you said that it's not so overwhelming because you don't need everything all in one go, but yet on the other side, it gives you a goal. It gives you a guideline and a strategy how to move forward. And I think that is that's very important, because often for entrepreneurs, they have, like, I know for myself, I have this thing and that thing and that thing, and at the end of the day, I've done nothing. But it's to actually say, okay, these are the next steps forward, and that's where I'm going now. And if I don't know, there's always somebody in the fellowship I can ask.
Exactly. You know, and Gareth, you did your own big fix. I've done my own big fix. When I did my own big fix, people, I mean, God, you know, I hated it. People came up with 71 ideas. I'm like, I felt, do you know what I felt? I felt, how fucking dare you, is what I really felt. I was like, oh my God, I felt quite inadequate. Well, after I'd got over myself and my ego, I sort of thought, actually, do you know what? These things are bloody brilliant ideas. Because for me, it was an ego moment. I went there thinking I know it all. And actually, and I realized at that point, I've become way too close to my business, right? It's so precious to me that no one else could have a view on it. And I'm just thinking, what are you doing? And it's from that I learned, actually, do you know what? This is a great experience, because for me, it highlighted, whoa, let go a bit.
But it's easily that it happens that you take it on as criticism, and then you think, oh, I'm not good enough, and all sorts of wonderful things. But that's not what it is. And often people say that during the big fix. This is not criticism. It is, and if so, it is loving criticism.
Yeah. Well, this is where the aftercare is really hard, right? And I don't always get this right, because I need to always remember that my response was, whoa, I blew up like a chimney stack. Now, nobody likes to have their business. It doesn't matter what we call it. We might call it, oh yeah, these are just helpful suggestions. Let's be absolutely honest here. The ego, or the human being, is giving birth to that business, will always take that on board as criticism, right? Whether we like it or not, we can, you know. So it really has to be. And I'm really open to criticism in terms of how I manage this process, because, you know, many disagreements can happen at this thing. But actually, what we're trying to do is, and, you know, I always say to people, look, you know, let's have a discussion about this, because what we're trying to do is, my only focus is to make people money. Right now, what I try and do is, if I can focus more on the outcome, because people tend to get a bit more chilled out when you mention, I'm just focusing on trying to make you money, because then something happens in their brain. I don't know what, but this is what happened to me when people told me, and I did the feedback thing, when they said, we're only trying to make you more money. Suddenly my brain just went, oh, okay, then that's fine. Now I'm listening. You know, I went straight from, you know, how dare you, to, oh, I'm listening. You know,
but that can also go the other way around. People think, well, you think I'm not making any money?
I wasn't, actually. I wasn't. I don't think that was in any doubt. But it is a psychological process, and, you know, it's hard. We don't always get it right. I always invariably get it wrong with so many people. But I think eventually everyone comes around to, okay, right, you know. And I've had people come to me 2 years later saying, actually, now I'm prepared to, can we do this again? Can we go through this big fix report again? I've got one business at the moment that's doing that now. And they've just, like, you know, we've gone through a 6-week process, and we've taken them literally from making no money to starting to make 20,000 quid on Google Ads. So, you know, that's only because they've sort of needed that time to maybe go out there and learn a bit. You know, it wasn't that, and again, a lot of these things weren't even my ideas. That's the thing. I just facilitate it, right? They weren't even my ideas. Everyone else's. I'll just blame everybody else. So, what would you say then in closure, Christiana, for people thinking about doing a big fix? What would you encourage it? Would you say,
Oh, definitely. Any chance you have, do a big fix and do it again. If it's a while ago and you feel a bit stuck, do it again because your question will be different. And that is important.
I might actually do one on Love Entrepreneurs. I might put myself. I've done it. Everyone else has actually had I might actually do it on myself just to re-experience what everyone else goes through, because that's always a good thing, isn't it? When you haven't experienced that for a while, and just to observe my ego and how.
Yeah, I like to observe that too.
Yeah, that's going to be hard. That's going to be. I'll write my own big fix report, and I'll tell you all honestly how I felt about everything. Because maybe. I think.
Look,
definitely do it.
Let me just quickly jump in and say, at this point, I want to point out that if you see that QR code in the corner, you follow that. That will take you to Core Essentials with Christiana Ebert, and you'll learn a little bit more about her amazing Pilates stuff.
Why does mine have a dinosaur in there?
Default, they all have dinosaurs in
you're
there.
Special. You're special and different.
I'm a special dinosaur.
Special dinosaur, that's right.
With little arms and long legs.
Yeah, Pilatesaurus. Anyway, so and I should also point out that there's another QR code down at the bottom, which takes you straight through to booking your first big fix, which is entirely free.
Yes.
So I would recommend doing that.
Yes, it's free. It's free. It's free.
Yeah, where else actually do you get all that input and a report and a talk and so on for nothing?
Yes,
but we do, and we do allow people to pay if they want to for their membership in silver. If they want to join Silvertree.
Now, if you want to learn more about that, I'd recommend visiting silvertree.co. That's silvatree.co. But until next week, please try and keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. Who knows, you'll catch the moon. And look after your mental health. Until next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.